Hi, I'm Laurie Dobson, and this is Island Update. Today is Thursday, April 23rd, 2020, and I'm on the island of Great Cranberry Isle in the town of Cranberry Isles in Maine. And I want to talk today about spring house cleaning. Not that I'm doing a tremendous amount of it, but I'm making some serious strides in backed up things that I've been needing to get to for quite a while. I have bags of things right there. I'm really focused on old things that need to get tended to, and it's not just for me. It's not just for me a matter of cleaning, but it's that this time has been incredibly opportune for doing some real spring soul searching, some deep spring cleaning internally. In the I still can't really go out there with the wind and the chill to do much in the way of planting, although some will be happening very soon, and some weeding has happened already. So we're still getting ready, but it's just been a nice extended period of time to reflect on some things that are happening around here, and my role and my responsibility to how I respond to things and talk about them. I'm not just here. I also have I've been starting other formats for communication. Social media has always been an area where I've done a lot of work. And I just joined a collective on staff for a blog called This Can't Be Happening. So it's thiscan'tbehappening.net. I just started my own website at WordPress called Captain Laurie, or lauriedobson.com. And then also I've been doing these daily videos since mid-March, because I think it's helpful to keep these connections going, whether we have a pandemic or whatever it is, whatever crisis that we have. That I think for me, it's just the ongoing nature of getting older, finding the future looking a little less lovely in some ways because of the decisions made by others. Our political future, our climate, everything else. It's been kind of a tricky place to be for my kids, for everybody on this planet. So I just for my mother, and everyone has challenges. So it's my job, I think, to be truthful about my own walk with this opportunity. And I see that the benefit of this COVID-19 is that people are really using it. There's that hashtag not with me, where people are doing things, showing others how to do basic things. And it's fantastic, because I just feel like what a need that fills, people just sharing skills, sharing like we've never shared before in our most isolated place, the social isolation, finding ways to stay mentally healthy and strong by helping other people where we are. I just find that we're uncovering core strengths that are seriously important. I was impressed today. I listened to Governor Cuomo, and he was talking about some things. He really went after Mitch McConnell, who suggested that the state governors have trouble making ends meet because they aren't getting enough money. They aren't getting, what the airlines are getting, or some other big businesses, and they're really not getting things like hazard pay and other basic things that the states need, that they could always go bankrupt. And he said some things that I felt were really applicable to all of us, because he really made it clear what the nature of what we're doing here is. He's been talking about freedom, that if we take a freedom and we want a freedom from responsibility, then that's no freedom at all. And he was talking about the decline and fall of the Roman Empire, Edith Hamilton's book. He was quoting it, and but it's I've also heard it's expressed: freedom is requirement accepted. That other song, The Freedom of My Chains. It's like people are really starting to talk about it, because they're integrating the need for freedom on a whole other level than just, it's not about security. It's about choosing to be not free for the sake of the freedom for everyone. It's a higher order of freedom. My kids were having a dialogue that I tapped into, texting each other with somebody that's in the family, and and just really, really exploring these ideas. It's kind of remarkable. I think it's happening everywhere. It must be on some level or another. But what I liked that Cuomo sort of set the tone by talking about he railed against the petty partisan political lens that people see things through when they decide they'll help this one but not that one, and he's saying if ever there was a time for decency, it's now, and to not be obsessive political bias or political anger. He said now is the time to find a better way to be politically and in our world. He said, how do you divide things now in this time? That's so important for us to unify around common goals. He said, how ugly. And it's not the time or place to start your divisive politics. It's just not. Another quote was, there should be no red and blue. There never should have been, maybe, but certainly not now. It should be red. It's not red or blue. It's red, white, and blue, and it's people. We talked about the virtues of New Yorkers. He's identifying people with their best instincts right now, and showing them their highest form of inner freedom by what they choose to do. Because he keeps saying, there's no way you can. It has to be a voluntary. It has to be a choice to limit freedoms for the good of all, for common good. And he's talking about how everyone has to be smart, disciplined, unified, and loving together, and that we all have to be. It has to be about love, and it's not a weakness, but a strength. So anyway, I just think he was also talking about the issue of fairness when it comes down to who puts in where, and certainly New York has had the biggest brunt of it, but put in so much into the world, into our economy, into the culture, into so many ways that they've benefited, but their hardest hit populations are the old in the nursing homes, but also the Hispanic and the Black population, and disproportionately hit. Also, those are the people that are more into doing the essential services that everyone else depends on. And one woman said, rather than consider them heroes, look at us as we're victims of the situation here. They're not exactly happy to have to fill that role. The society just seems so happy to give to them, while we have these other roles that we take on. But you take on what you have to take on. You do what you have to do, what you feel is most important. And in this island situation for me, early on, I took on becoming an EMT. I have been very patient with the process, and it's not been a process for me that's been an easy one. I started it, later in life. I'm older. I haven't lived here that long. I've been from Kennebunkport and moved 3 years ago. And so I'm not, although I'm native 10 generations, at least I'm not, you could consider me from away across the water from Cape Porpoise. But also I'm on one island and not another. And there are stark differences and divisions in places that would surprise you. Things that don't need to be there. And we all ought to really kind of talk about that and not just sort of soft pedal it, because I know it makes a lot of people very unhappy. I've raised the flag knowing that I'm going to get shot down. I already have, but I think it's got to happen. The dialogues have to happen. And I was reading a woman today who said she's a person I listen to a lot, Caitlin Johnstone, and she was talking about how someone had written her saying that that everybody hates her from all different sides, because she's trying to be true to herself, and so she basically offends everyone across the board. I think we've got to find ways to honor people being true to their own needs and their own values, and listen to what they are instead of just comparing them against our own. I think that we have a lot on these islands and in this world that's of value. You just look on the internet, quick search with me, and you'll see all these people giving of themselves. And I think we have to look at people's strengths how they matter, how they can contribute, and how they can be valuable, and not look at it as, our government and these town governments, that we're just, our only job is to communicate what, the governor has to say, or the CDC, and sort of disperse that. But it's also the other way around. We have to communicate back from people and find out what's going on in the community, maintaining community health and well-being. It's also happening with our service organizations, and it's important. But I think a government has to find a way to reach people and understand what they're saying and hear them, so that that they know how to properly disperse the funds, the resources, and the communications and the activities that will benefit people the most. And that may not be a traditional use of our government, but I think in this time we all have to reach out, communicate from what we really feel in our core about what we have to give and what we think ought to be happening for everyone's benefit. And then, of course, kindness, courtesy, etc. But that does not mean silence. So that's my point today. Obviously, I'm not being very silent, but I think it's for the better good. It's certainly better for me and my mental health, because I feel like if I don't express my own values to the people that I think sometimes people can suffer from a lack of reciprocity and a lack of discussion and open-mindedness while we talk together, especially about our differences. And those conversations are valuable. And that's where a lot of healing can happen, a lot of spring cleaning on an island level and a human level. So that's my message today, except one more thing. There's my magnolia tree on the lane. It's in bloom. Go take a look. Have a great day. Bye.